The gaming industry has gone through many changes through the years. One minute, all a game needed for development was a small team and a small budget. But the next, you'll need larger teams with larger budgets. While this may be true for larger companies, the indie scene has become a massive part of the industry, and many of these games have been developed entirely by a single person. That's the case for Dust: An Elysian Tail. If you never heard of the game, don't worry, neither did our editor when he contacted me to narrate this episode. But hopefully by the end, you'll want to try out this incredible game. I'm your host for today, MinnyMinccino, and in today's episode of the Gaming Gallery, we'll be discussing the development history of Dust: An Elysian Tail. Dust: An Elysian Tail was developed almost entirely by Dodrel, a self-taught illustrator and animator who worked with Epic Games on artwork and cinematics. While they initially believed the game would take 3 months to develop, Dust: An Elysian Tail's development cycle would end up lasting around 3.5 years. The name Dust: An Elysian Tail actually has a lot of history behind it. The game's world is set in an indie film Dodrel was working on called An Elysian Tail, its name referencing the 1986 film An American Tail. Development on the movie would eventually be put on hold to focus on building Dust's world through the video game. The game took inspiration from games such as Metroid, Golden Axe, Ys 1 and 2, and the classic NES-era Castlevania games. In fact, Dust was originally planned to feature 8-bit style platforming before it became what it is today. This was changed to match the hand-drawn art style Dodrel had in mind for the Elysian Tail film. In 2008, Dodrel told his wife his plans on developing a small game for Xbox Live. He chose the platform as Microsoft's XNA system made it easy for indie developers to develop for the Xbox 360. Thanks to XNA, Dodrel was able to learn Visual Studio and C# fairly easily, only taking about half of Dust's development time. He'd spend the time learning programming by developing some basic programs such as a Hello World game, a recreation of Pong, and a tile editor. A majority of the time spent working on the game was more focused on hand-drawing everything in the game. In 2009, Dodrel decided to submit Dust: An Elysian Tail into Microsoft's Dream Build Play competition. While he felt confident in his programming and animation, he still needed help with the game's music. At first, he tried asking a friend, Alec Brandon, but he was too busy to work on the game. Instead, Dodrel turned to a musician named Chris G.A.M.E, who he found on the XNA Creators Club forums. Dust: An Elysian Tail would go on to win the Dream Build Play competition, awarding Dodrel with a $40,000 prize, although this wouldn't be enough to fully fund the game, as the rest of the project's budget came from Dodrel himself. Despite winning the competition, Dust wasn't guaranteed a publishing deal for Xbox Live. A contract to publish the game on the service wouldn't happen until the beginning of 2010. While Dodrel initially believed that the game would be finished before the end of the year, it wouldn't be until PAX East 2012 that Dust would be shown to the public again, this time with a fully playable demo. The positive reception to the demo gave the team the confidence they needed to finish the game. At this point, it was believed that Dust needed another 6 months of development time, but Microsoft insisted the game be released in time for their Summer of Arcade event, which was in 3 months at this point. With such a demanding time crunch, even more so than before, the Dust team worked practically non-stop during those 3 remaining months. Unfortunately, a game-breaking bug was discovered shortly before release. When Dodrel tested the game, he found that a bug caused the game to double-check every dialogue file, which caused the game to crash. He worked tirelessly to reprogram the game's dialogue system, eventually managing to fix the bug and finish the game. And on July 6th, Dodrel sent out a tweet. "Oh, and I finished the game I was working on. That was cool." Dust: An Elysian Tail was released on August 15th, 2012, to positive feedback from critics and fans alike. The game would remain exclusive to Xbox until the PS4 version was released in 2014, followed by Nintendo Switch in 2018. That's all for today, so thank you all for watching this episode of the Gaming Gallery. If you'd like to learn more about the development history of other games, there will be a playlist on screen somewhere around here. And also on screen will be a link to my Let's Play of Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. Thank you for watching. I've been your host, MinnyMinccino, and remember that in our hearts, we are gamers.